The council chamber buzzed with quiet, somber murmurs as the representatives of the Galactic Concord reviewed the latest reports. The Vorath Dominion had obliterated yet another colony. Its skies, once vibrant with life, were now silent. Its people, enslaved or exterminated. Despair hung heavy in the air, a tangible weight pressing on the gathered species. They had exhausted their resources and strategies, yet the Dominion's relentless advance continued. The Concord, a coalition of once proud civilizations, now faced an existential threat, their centuries of peace unraveling before their eyes. For all their technology and unity, the Concord's defensive fleets had crumbled like sandcastles against a rising tide. The Vorath were not just conquerors, they were destroyers, masters of overwhelming force and psychological warfare. In the face of such terror, even the most stalwart voices among the council had begun to falter. Amid the grim atmosphere, a single proposal was whispered, first timidly, then with increasing conviction. It was not an idea born of hope, but of desperation. They needed someone unpredictable, a force that even the Vorath might hesitate to confront. The name that surfaced sent chills down the spines of many present. Humanity. For centuries, humanity had been a curious anomaly within the Concord. Originating from Earth, a so-called death world, teeming with hostile ecosystems, they were an evolutionary oddity. Where most sapient species thrived in stable, nurturing environments, humans had clawed their way to dominance on a planet that seemed intent on erasing them. Predators, diseases, natural disasters, Earth was a crucible of survival, and its children were forged in fire. Yet, this same resilience made them unsettling. Humans were cunning, adaptable, and capable of incredible violence. Their history was marked by wars of unprecedented scale, their culture filled with stories of triumph over impossible odds. The Concord had hesitated to fully integrate them, wary of their volatile nature. Now, those qualities seemed less like liabilities and more like necessities. "They are unorthodox," an Ithorian delegate said, her voice trembling. "Their methods could destabilize everything we've built, and if we do nothing, there will be nothing left to stabilize," retorted a grizzled Joval war leader. "The Vorath fear nothing. Perhaps it's time we showed them something to fear." The chamber fell silent as the representatives weighed the choice before them. To invite humanity into their struggle was to risk unleashing a force they barely understood. But the alternative was annihilation. Finally, the Concord's presiding speaker, an elder from the ethereal Seraphian race, rose to address the assembly. His voice carried the weight of millennia. "Let it be recorded. We extend a call to the Terrans. May their fire burn brighter than the shadow of our despair." The decision was made. Across the stars, emissaries were dispatched to the human territories. The galaxy held its breath, unsure whether it had secured its salvation or sealed its doom. The battlefield was a cacophony of chaos. Explosions rocked the sky as ships clashed in a deadly dance of fire and fury. The Concord fleets, once disciplined and calculated, were now frantically responding to the unpredictability of human tactics. Where once there was strategy, there was now anarchy, a storm of kinetic weapons, sabotage, and sheer audacity. Human forces didn't adhere to conventional doctrines. There were no protocols, no rigid formations. Instead, they adapted in real time, using terrain to their advantage, deploying improvised weaponry, and utilizing every available resource. They fought with a hunger for survival, pushing themselves beyond limits that even seasoned warriors thought impossible. A human pilot, bloodied and grimy, navigated through the wreckage of a Concord frigate. His ship was patched together from scavenged parts, yet it moved with a grace that defied its crude construction. His HUD flickered, showing enemy contacts closing in from all sides, but he didn't flinch. The Vorath would learn that humanity didn't break, never broke, no matter the odds. Nearby, a human engineer worked feverishly to bypass the security protocols of a Concord-controlled installation. Sparks flew as makeshift tools were used to override the alien systems. His expression was calm, methodical, as if he were performing a routine task. For the humans, failure wasn't an option. It wasn't even a consideration. Meanwhile, on the ground, human soldiers engaged in brutal skirmishes, their determination terrifying. They fought as though they were still on Earth's battlefields, where survival itself had been a war. Each soldier was a cog in a well-oiled machine, but a machine with no mercy, no hesitation. Every movement, every strike was calculated for the highest yield of destruction. The Concord, for all their superior technology and numbers, began to falter. Their rigid strategies were ill-suited to the fluid chaos of human tactics. Human leaders didn't rely solely on firepower. They relied on disruption, on pushing the boundaries of what was considered possible. A Concord ship attempting a counterattack was crippled by a human suicide squad, willing to sacrifice everything for victory. The Vorath, in contrast, had never faced this kind of warfare. Their fleets, built for overwhelming force and dominance, now found themselves unable to predict or counter humanity's relentless aggression. Their animals, one Vorath admiral growled over a private comm channel, his voice fraying under the stress. Unruly beasts with no regard for strategy. Another replied, and that's why we're losing. Humanity had weaponized their instincts. Where the Concord sought precision, they delivered raw power. Where the Concord sought control, they delivered chaos. There was no finesse, only survival, a primal, unrelenting drive to dominate. In the aftermath, the battlefield was littered with wreckage, but humanity stood victorious. Their death toll was staggering, but they had done what no other force could. The Vorath had been driven back, their aggression halted. The Concord fleets gathered in stunned silence, witnessing the magnitude of humanity's strength. It was not a triumph of strategy, nor of elegance. It was a triumph of sheer will, of unyielding tenacity. And as the dust settled, the galaxy began to understand one truth. Humanity wasn't just a force. It was a force of nature, a force that couldn't be tamed and wouldn't be stopped.